Who is that relative, and what did they do? My cousin that I boarded my mare with on her farm. She called me to say her stallion accidentally bred my mare and she wanted me to pay her a $700 stud fee. Not a chance, lady. I don't know how any of that works. But I would say her stallion, owes you child full support. My Aunt Karen. She is appropriately named. I have one too. Also appropriately named. Same here. Appropriately named as well. Not many relatives know, but when me and my male cousin were watching TV in the living room, his younger sister, who was like 13 or 14 at the time, just ran over and shit on the floor in front of us. Like a full solid log. She's engaged now and told him out of fear of me or her brother telling him randomly. Edit. Thanks for the award, kind stranger. Establish dominance. My cousin was a drug dealer out of his parents' basement. Something went bad while his parents were out of town, so someone beat him unconscious and now he is severely mentally handicapped. Some would argue the fact that he was already mentally handicapped when he shit where he eats. By God, the man has a family, and you just replied to them. Sister. Everyone else besides the people that live with her loves her. Came onto my boyfriend and told me I was overreacting. My sister is just straight up an asshole. She uses violence to get what she wants. She is always angry with no reason. Play games that are easy to do and don't do a lot of damage but still hurt, like hard pinching, and is just so much of a horrible person that I don't want to get close to her. Yet everybody else outside of the close family loves her. My uncle and his wife. To preface, his wife has severe mental health issues based around an abusive and traumatic childhood. She has shit-talked everyone in our family because she can't conceive of us being so healthy and is convinced everyone has skeletons in our closets. She has made up slights against us and has sent out many an Instagram due to these imaginary issues. She tried to protect me from my parents when we went through our rough patch, to the point she is still convinced I'm at least slightly a hostage. Ironically, she refuses to acknowledge her youngest son is autistic and considers her eldest son a failure simply because he's normal and called her out on her crazy shit in the past. For a while, we thought my uncle was oblivious to his wife's insanity, but we have since learned he believes everything she says about the people he grew up with. Mind, they are no longer part of our family at this point. My sister's husband. I detest him. They were having a troubled time. I was hoping they were separating, and I went to court to support her. He made up a story on the stand about her trying to kill herself. This man is an eye doctor, specialty pets, and worth a shitload of money. But I've known my sister forever, and there is not a chance in hell she'd kill herself and leave her kids in his hands. 0/10. She has a fierce mother hen instinct. I wanted to throttle the judge who was buying his shit, her crappy attorney, and her husband. Still would. They somehow got over it. Not my business, but I can't stand to be around him. If he's a doctor, he would have reported a suicide attempt so there would be a paper trail. If he didn't report a suicide attempt, even a failed one, he can lose his medical license. Go for it. Aunt Kath, and she believes Oprah is behind it all. I'm scared to ask what it all is. Like, there's a lot of stuff Oprah could be behind. But all of it? Yeah, all of it. Biden, Trump, elections, Weinstein, Epstein, the list goes on. Has been long dead, but I have a relative named Ralph the Bigamist. Guess what he did? Left the family fog machine on, thus making a very big mist. You're getting mixed up with the other uncle that did the big mist. So in an effort to go one better, he did a bigger mist. Thank you, I'll see myself out. Uncle Andy, sexist, racist, homophobic football hooligan, goes to matches just for a fight, never pays his council tax or TV license, flogs stolen goods, lost his house and got into debt because he wouldn't sell it to a nation couple, did jail time in his teen/20s after breaking a copper's nose after a row overpaying 10p for lime in his drink. It took 8 officers to take him down, and he brags about coming out with more criminal skills than he went in with. Left his girlfriend because she was depressed. She has terminal cancer and one leg amputated. Didn't have anything to do with my nan, his mum. unless he wanted to borrow money for the kinky years, and blocked me on Facebook when I gave him a bollocking over it. Only to pop up halfway through the pandemic and finally start helping her out with shopping and DIY. I personally think he's just sowing seeds, so she'll put him back in her will. He's in his 50s, and he's like an overgrown teenager. I can't stand the man. Bloody hell, he sounds like an asshole. I feel for you. Must be shit having someone like that in the family. Aunt abandoned her 2 kids and joined the commune. Commune as in she's an insane commie or an insane religious person? Neither. Mysil, oof. Let's see, has refused to work since she started dating my brother because I'm gonna be a stay-at-home mommy. Refused to use birth control and kept manipulating him by insinuating she was pregnant every other month. When she did get pregnant and the baby would have a birth defect, had an abortion, not judging on this part, and told everyone she had miscarried because I had assaulted and abused her, 100% judging on that. Once she got pregnant again, started manipulating everyone into doing what she wanted because I can't get even mildly upset or I'll miscarry again. Stole my therapy journal and tore away pages that prove I'm evil and hate her. She's such an awesome person. How could I not love her? Once her child was born, was calling her a screaming little bitch and pawning her off on my parents in the first 4 weeks of her life. Tried to put her baby on a diet at 6 months because she was chubby. She was normal weight. Dropped her baby off at my mom's several times without anything and then yelled at my mom because she didn't have the right bottles or the formula she preferred. Had her child malnourished. Again because she was on a diet and decided the kid had to be on a diet too, so she wouldn't have to cook 2 meals. I think child services got involved this time. But I live in another state, so I don't have the details. Threw a massive fit, pre-virus, because husband refuses, can't afford, to put daughter in school full time, 8 to 5 or something, so she doesn't have to go pick her up from school. School is on the next street over, and she's able-bodied. Just lazy. Refuses to ever help child with homework. When brother caught COVID, she wanted our elderly parents to fly across the country to babysit. Oh, yes. At some point, threw a stroller on my brother because she couldn't open it, and give me a minute is not an acceptable answer to her demand for help. Oof. I guess that's all I can remember now. The worst part is how much butt kissing she gets, because she is so sensitive. I'm gonna stop here. Holy shit. I don't know how your family can put up with that. This made me so angry just to read. I'm so sorry for all involved. She's my mom's very old friend's daughter, so she can do no wrong in her eyes. And my mom is pretty manipulative herself. So most people fall in line to keep them happy, or at least not attract their anger. One of my maternal aunts tried to con my parents into letting her claim our old house as her permanent mailing address. Naturally, they weren't having it, and a full-fledged screaming match ensued which ended with her storming out of the house never to return. I vividly remember her saying, "See you in 3 years at the cemetery" as she slammed the door behind her. My relationship with her pretty much went down the drain from that day forward, and I finally cut ties with her for good in 2015, after she refused to believe me when I told her I hadn't gotten an envelope she'd sent me while I was a psychiatric hospital inpatient. This one is sad. So my cousin took his own life and I never found out why. My oldest brother thought my mother had to pay for his college in Germany and told her, "I hope you know you have to pay for this." Right, and when my mom laughed at him and told him no, he said, and I quote, "Okay then. We'll see each other in court." He never did it and never talked to any of us after this. PS. To make this clear, here in Germany the parents have to pay for their kids' education. Well, actually for the living through said education /food and stuff. Yes. But either apprenticeship or college not bought, and since my mom paid for the first, she didn't have to for the second. Named his son Critter, like on the birth certificate, not just a nickname. Yep, actual on the birth certificate name. Older brother, they became a lawyer. Tragic. My uncle is the eldest of 6, so grew up with an inflated sense of self-importance anyway. He orders my dad and their siblings around like they're children, even though my dad, who is the youngest, is in his 50s. He does that with everyone I've ever seen him interact with. So I've always interacted with him as little as possible. He has very strong opinions and will present them as facts with very little research. I can't remember what it was specifically, but one day he posted something on Facebook that was utter bullshit. I do seem to recall it was something about how the human body works. Fuck knows what possessed me to do it, cause I should have known better. I commented and said that some of the information was incorrect and gave the correct information instead. He replied very quickly questioning how I would even know that, so I responded telling him I have an A-level in biology and what he was talking about is something I learned in the course of gaining that qualification. Well, his response to that was what can only be described as an essay that was designed to tear me down. He told me that the whole family had told him individually and collectively that I wasn't liked, that I was just an asshole who got off on trying to prove how smart I am when I actually don't know anything. And he very heavily insinuated that I wasn't really part of the family anyway, I'm adopted. I very quickly got a phone call from my aunt who was actually with my uncle when he posted it, and she was furious at him. She told me that it wasn't true, and she had told him that as he was writing it, and he had said it didn't matter because I would think it was. This was about 7 years ago, and I've only spoken to him once since, at my granddad's funeral. But I just politely said hello and that was it. I'd fact check every one of his posts after that. I'm that relative. I showed up drunk too many times, so they quit inviting me. 2 years sober. Stick with it. Seriously. That's awesome. My mother. The rest of the family has a saying, you know how she is. Uncle. He asked me one holiday season if I had a boyfriend. My mom proceeds to show him a picture of us together, and my uncle asks if he's Middle Eastern by saying what is he Ajmed or something. My then boyfriend, standard white male from suburbia, had thick black facial hair, kind of wondering if your uncle is my dad. Hi. Cuz. Uncle. Pedophile. Liked his daughter too much. That's disturbing. My aunt. She's a super stingy person who yelled at all her nieces and nephews constantly, me and my subs and cousins, while we were growing up. She gives super cheap gifts despite being the richest in the family but expects elaborate, expensive gifts from everyone else. For reference, she gave my mom, her sister-in-law, a $50 gift certificate for her 50th day, while my parents are about to pay $5,000 towards her wedding. She's 45. My uncle is 25 and living with his overprotective parents to the point that I know more about society than him, and there's a 12-year difference. He has no friends outside of his extended family, which is us, and always makes terrible racist and anti-LGBTQ jokes without realizing it. My uncle Georgie. He got high one day and stole his neighbor's patio furniture in the middle of the day and had the audacity to put it out. Neighbor saw the whole thing while standing at the door and was nice enough to not call the cops and asked him politely to put everything back where he found it by the time he comes back or he will kick his ass. Uncle complied and was found unconscious in the sidewalk a few miles down. Meth is one hell of a drug. Also have another uncle who is super paranoid and believes the government is spying on him and that I work for them because I showed him Google Maps. Other uncle is not weird. He might have mental health issues like schizophrenia. Yeah, he probably does have that and it won't surprise me too. That's my mom's side of my family and they are somewhat like the first one. They are more hillbilly than anything though. They are the Florida man in my family. 2 uncles on my mom's side. One forged my grandfather's will and gambled a small fortune away in Vegas. Another has been involved in various pyramid schemes and believes most right-wing conspiracies. Uncle Tony. Meth. My male cousin who we'll call D, who tried to molest our other boy cousin who was a minor at the time, and now the family is broken in 3 parts. 1. The people who stay away. 2. The neutral people, and 3. The ones who don't believe he tried to do that. My uncle. He's 30 and has been in prison for 15 years on and off, all because of heroin related situations. My uncle apparently stole money from my grandparents. A lot. And they enabled his behavior. He wasn't super into getting a job and actually working for money, unlike my mom, who was the favorite child. Not only that, but apparently he was just an utterly across the board in general. Learned this after he died. When I previously spoke to him, he seemed like a pretty chill dude. He was nice to me, gave me happy birthday messages and gifts, all that. He had a wife and about 3 kids, living in the Midwest. Not even sure where they are now. Sister. Let's call her Amy. Foul-mouthed manipulator. Tried to steal from me with her husband. Had been lying to my mother for years. Now is getting a divorce and wants back in good graces. No way, you racist thief. Go try and manipulate someone stupid. Actually don't, you sociopath. Uncle. Old school racist and sexist. Tried to tell me that as a woman God made me, only to be used by a man for procreation and to always be loyal and follow a man. Imagine how much I enjoyed telling him I couldn't give a damn. Becky and Karen, not their real names, but our family is quite broken. Becky, she did numerous drugs and afterward crashed 3 cars. Tried breaking up both of my parents and causing a huge fight. Ended up having the police come to our house and it caused immense stress. Continued to misgender me and cussed out and slurred and insulted all of my family, only to come crawling during Thanksgiving and fucked our cousin. Karen stole my mother's pictures and her face was out there and took sex requests under her name and her face. It took forever for that to die down, only to do drugs again. I don't know where she is now, but I hope she's doing better. There's more, but these 2 are the only ones I can think of right now. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.